The U.S. for killings in Afghanistan. The men say they acted in self-defense. Prosecutors disagree. We'll have all the details coming up. And a nighttime count of India's most vulnerable. The latest census tries to put a true figure on the number of people living on the streets. That's also coming up. Stay tuned.
As the dry condition extends over Amritsar, we'll find the right flavour to tempt your palate.
Hello again. The flooding rains are still with us through many parts of South America. If we take a look at the satellite picture, it's a little jumpy, but you can make out this huge area of cloud here just in the southern parts of Brazil, and more wet weather all along this western coast here. Heavy downpours down into Lima. So we've got yet more wet weather to come then as we head through the next few days. There could be more in the way of localised flooding, yet more wet weather all the way from that western coast all the way down towards Rio. To the south of that, though, it's generally a lot drier, and it won't be quite as hot as it has been either. So Buenos Aires this time getting to around 27 degrees. Now, if we head towards Cape Town here, it's actually going to be a bit hotter than it has been. Looks like our temperature will be right up at a sticky 34 degrees as we head through Tuesday. Elsewhere, it's also going to be warm, but not that hot. 28 there in Durban. The showers there still stretching from Madagascar all the way across through Mozambique and across towards Angola. Some heavy ones at that. A little bit further north, and the wettest weather here seems to be through parts of Pakistan and across into Afghanistan as well. Heavy downpours and a lot of snow there as you head into the northern parts of India as well. We've just got the tail end of that here in Doha. A fresher day, I think, for us on Tuesday. The wind's quite brisk and from the north.
Qatar Airways, world's 5-star airline.
Top stories on Al Jazeera. The people of New Zealand have paused to remember the victims of the powerful earthquake that shattered Christchurch exactly 1 week ago. Muammar Gaddafi's forces have been fighting back against anti-government fighters in Libya. Air Force jets bomb a rebel-held ammunition depot in the city of Ajdabiya, that's east of Tripoli. Well, the Libyan leader has laughed off calls for him to quit, saying he'll never leave his homeland. He also claims he is loved by the Libyan people. That interview you saw right there was the first one given by Muammar Gaddafi to international media since the start of the uprising. And we can bring in Al Jazeera's Paul Brennan now, who joins us now from our European Broadcast Centre with more on how the uprising is being covered by the media across Europe. Paul, what are you seeing?
Well, I'm seeing, Doreen, a marked hardening of the stance, a very much more hawkish approach being taken by both politicians and the media in the last 12 to 24 hours, notwithstanding Colonel Gaddafi's interview there where he appeared to laugh off the prospect of him stepping aside or some sort of military intervention. Military intervention seeming to be more and more a possibility given the briefings that appear to be going on. Chief among them, frankly, is an alarming and perhaps alarmist report in the Daily Telegraph newspaper here in the UK. It's a right-of-centre newspaper, and it's leading today with the worrying headline, West ready to use force against Gaddafi amid chemical weapons fears. Now, echoes there of the run-up to the last Iraq war are unmistakable, and frankly, the details of these chemical weapons are as sketchy in Libya as they were in Iraq, but the newspaper says, despite a promise in 2003 to give up weapons of mass destruction, Gaddafi is thought to have retained as much as 14 tons of the chemicals required to create mustard gas. The stocks are said to be stored in secret secure facilities in the Libyan desert. There is a caveat here. The chemicals would need to be mixed and loaded into shells before they could be used as weapons, but they are still a concern, according to what the newspaper describes as an unnamed senior British government source. As well as that, we have Italy, previously a well-known ally of Libya. They have come out, or the Foreign Minister Franco Frattini has come out just yesterday evening, and in an interview with Reuters revealed that a non-aggression pact that Italy had signed with Libya back in 2008, the Italians now regard as being non-binding. Frattini, in his interview with Reuters, said that there is the breakdown of central control in Libya as rebel forces have come close to the capital Tripoli meant the treaty could no longer be considered to be in force. And that, of course, opens up the possible use of Italian airfields to launch or to police a no-fly zone over Libya. You can see a hardening of stance. We've got the Americans moving military assets in. We've got Prime Minister David Cameron in the British Parliament yesterday raising the possibility that he could possibly arm or send supplies to anti-Gaddafi forces in the east of Libya. And there is a real hardening of attitude, a real political pressure being raised. And what I could possibly, or what critics might possibly say, is dangerous talk regarding Libya today.
All right, Paul, thank you very much for that. Well, in other news, police in the Democratic Republic of Congo have arrested more than 30 people after an attempted coup. Up to 60 armed men attacked the president's house on Sunday, killing 7 people. Leader Joseph Kabila wasn't at home and was unhurt. Then fighting spread to a nearby army base before the Republican Guard put down that attack. A heavy military presence is back on the streets of the Tunisian capital a day after the prime minister bowed out following a wave of deadly protests. 2 ministers have also now resigned from the caretaker government. Egypt's top prosecutor has imposed a travel ban on former President Hosni Mubarak and his family. He's also ordered a freeze on all their financial assets inside the country. 2 American security guards accused of killing 2 Afghan civilians are back on trial in the U.S. The men worked in Afghanistan for a division of the company that was formerly known as Blackwater. Now, they were tried last year, but the jury couldn't reach a verdict. Tom Ackerman reports.
Christopher Drotleff and Justin Cannon were hired by Paravant, a shell business for the company formerly known as Blackwater. Their job helping to train Afghan soldiers. That was until May 2009, when an incident left 2 Afghans dead and the contractors fled the country. The 2 Americans say they fired their weapons in self-defense at the Afghans riding in a car which rammed their convoy and then tried to run them over. An Afghan pedestrian was also hit at close range and was among the dead. Prosecutors say the Afghans' car was never a threat, and a U.S. Army review found that the 2 Americans had been drinking that night and violated weapons policies. The incident was not the first involving questionable weapons use by Paravant Blackwater employees in Afghanistan. Official U.S. reviews have accused other company personnel of unauthorized possession and reckless use of Afghan military weapons. The chairman of the Senate Armed Services Committee said Blackwater was actually damaging, not helping the Afghan training mission.
And if we fail to make sure that contractors like Blackwater play by the rules and live up to their commitments, we'll be doing a disservice to our troops by making their already difficult and dangerous job even more so.
Levin has urged the Defense Department to reconsider its award of a potential $1 billion contract to Blackwater for training Afghan soldiers. But both the State Department and